Alright, so today we're going to be doing a little modification to these wonderful pod lights that I have installed on my RS. This was a mod, one of the first mods I did last year because the stock headlight on the RS sucks. And even after replacing the lens cap on it for like a wider spread, it still sucks. So I ride with these at night. They're just regular off-roading pod lights for a truck. They're 6,000 lumens each, and they're mounted with these brackets to the front of my scooter. And then around here on the back, the wire from the pod lights is actually soldered to a 8 amp hour drill battery via this adapter. And yes, everything is kind of falling apart right now. The switch just fell on the floor because I forgot to film this before I started cutting shit. So basically how this works is you have the drill with this adapter. The adapter came with all of this attached to it, okay? The fuse is in here. The switch actually goes right in between these two black wires. This is what we're going to be messing with today. And then it plugs in to the lights via this right here. So I soldered all this up last year, but the only issue is that, as you saw before, the switch sticks out of this little bag because it's so short. It has to be close to the battery. So today what we're going to be doing is, look guys, I got a workbench now. I'm an adult. We're going to be extending this little section right here longer with this wire so that the switch, let me grab that, oh my god, the switch is now going to be up here at the handlebars. So we'll run that wire all the way down back to the battery case. This has been a long time coming project. I've been meaning to do this for months. I meant to do it last year, but I just got kind of used to leaning down and just flipping that switch while I'm riding. But it's just annoying, you know. I have to like slow down a lot and like really steady myself. This will just make it way easier. I won't have to do any weird awkward bending and possibly crash. So yeah, we're gonna get started on soldering all this up right now. All right, so we're gonna start off with just taking off this adapter. As you can see, I already stripped the wire right here that we're gonna be soldering on, and I have to do this guy as well right now. The switch has already been stripped on both sides, so we're going to leave that as is. Okay, so that guy's done. This guy's done. Okay, we're done with stripping for now. And how we're going to solder these guys is with these awesome little self-soldering tubes. Basically all you do is you pop the tube on to the wire and you pull it down below where the strands are. Then you twist the strands together. You slide the tube back up so this little silver solder section is right over the strands, and then you heat it up and it just kind of like melts and solders itself together pretty much. And then this is nice because the plastic part is heat shrink, so it kind of seals it up. You can see it right here actually. Looks very nice when it's done. And the next thing we're going to do is see how much of this wire we're going to need. I have about 12 feet of it. I just picked it up from Home Depot. And I think we'll probably need about 8 feet total, 4 feet per strand. I'm going to put it on this side because my cell phone mount, even though my light is buttons on this side, I'm going to put it on this because there's more open room. The cell phone mount kind of messes up with everything. I'm an eyeballing kind of guy when it comes to this. God, it's so nice having a real workbench. If you guys remember me like doing the shock upgrade and I was using like a fold out plastic card table and angle grinding on it, this is significantly better and safer. First off, let's just make all the strands on each side of these wires nice and even. All right, there we go. All the wire has been stripped. We can now proceed to soldering. And for sizing, I think this kit's really nice. It comes with all different like diameter sizings of tubing, but this blue one I think is exactly what we need. Basically how this works is we slide the tube on first. You have to remember to do that before you weave the wires together, okay? Otherwise it's just it's going to be a bad time. So I'm just going to open up the strands a little bit. You don't have to do this. Some people, it's open debate whether you have to open the strands or not. I do, just because that's how I was taught years and years ago with basic stripping. And we're just going to gently put them through, make sure none of them are bending backwards. And then I just like to hold on really tight and give it one really good twist. So now we're going to gently, again, try not to bend back any of the strands that we just twisted, because they want to come up now that they're not all straight. Like this is actually, it's actually kind of difficult right now. You can see they're kind of separating a bit. Just give me a minute and we will have everything on there perfectly. All right, so as you can see, maybe, I'm not sure how the focus is up close, but this silver piece right here is right over like where the wire is most connected, most stranded together. So that will be what solders. So the best way to do this that I have found is to just get a heat gun, and you can use, I would suggest getting something with like more of a fine, precise tip, just so you're not like heating up the rest of the wire or anything around it. But this works pretty well for doing this type of job. I have the heat gun at about 75% of its top heat. If it's all the way up, it does get a bit hard to control. And then I also have it on #1 setting, not the full blast, just again for more control. And the way I'm going to do this is actually face down at the wire. So gravity pulls the solder and it flows down and around the wires. And you kind of want to rotate it if you can and heat up as much of the solder as you can, instead of just trying to like aim it at one spot. You want to heat up as much of this as you can equally. There we go. I think we got it. Just gonna flip it over real quick and get the other side a bit more. And yeah, you can see right there's like a bit of like liquid metal. That's the solder that melted and then flowed across these strands. And also just generally you can tell that the circle in the middle is, you can see the difference right there. It's pretty fucking melted. And for anybody wondering, with the heat gun, that was about maybe like 90 seconds, like a minute and a half, just to do this one little section. So it's not very, it doesn't take a long time at all. All right, now that this is nice and cool, we're gonna do the other side with the other wire. So basically, this is getting quite extended. One thing I did forget to do with this soldering seam was put the heat shrink wrap on first. That's okay, I'll just electrical tape this, but usually you put on the heat shrink first. So then once you solder, the heat shrink can go up and cover the solder seam, and it kind of waterproof seals it. But electrical tape will work just fine as well if you don't have these wraps. I just have them and I like to use them when I can. That looks good. Last thing we're gonna do is just turn down the heat a little bit and just from a distance seal up the ends of this solder tubing, because that stuff shrinks also. So that's like your first layer of waterproof protection. And these just go all the way up here. This might be the most satisfying part of the whole process. All right. Not too freaking shabby for an amateur, dude. How about that? Look at that. Look at that. I'm killing it. All right. Next side. So just to kind of keep things out of the way for this first one, I'm just going to use a zip tie to kind of hold everything in place. So now all that's there is just like the wire by itself. so that's pretty much it. We got this one done. I just put this old one, put some electrical tape around it. We got this guy done. Then we got these guys all connected. So, moment of truth to see if these connections are solid. And if they're not, then I'm kind of just screwed. I might have to start over, but that's okay. All right. Moment of truth. Hey, we did it. Okay, cool. So all that's really left to do is to take this wire, put a bunch of like this plastic wire wrap around it, thread it up here, and then we're just gonna like zip tie this switch to the handlebars for now until I can find a better one. As you can see, we soldered this just now. This is a temporary thing because they make switches that come attached to like a little box with like a handlebar circular clamp, similar to like how everything on the handlebar attaches itself. You can see that kind of like right here with this gear switch. So I'm gonna do some more research and eventually we'll just quickly not even resolder this. We actually can just unplug the two leads from the switch and put them into the new switch. So yeah, we're just gonna wrap this up now and put it up here and I'll be good to go. So we pulled out some more of this wire wrap right here, and I just kind of like pulled the lengths together to see how much of this wrap I would need. And as you can see here, I have quite a bit, like this is probably like 7 or 8 inches extra of this wire. You always want to pull out or cut a piece off of this wrap a little bit longer than the length of the wire you're wrapping, just because if you look up here, you see how there's this like gap right there? Once you have the wire on or while you're going, you can actually twist it and you can make it super tight. And as you can see, the top overlaps the bottom, so when water drips down, it drips down the whole thing without going into the wrap and then getting the wires wet. So it's just a little extra tip that I find helpful for making sure that this wrap is as waterproof as possible. All right, so just gonna make sure that this battery is full. Perfect. For anyone wondering, this 8 amp hour battery with these lights, honestly, I get about like 3 hours straight of solid light. But as you can see, we have the whole wire. All we're gonna do is follow this big boy right here all the way up to the handlebars. So I'm gonna put this around like that, and then we'll just put this other one up through here, which will then go around the handlebar. Tighten that up right there, and then this tightens up, yeah, on the handlebar. Man, that is so much cleaner. Look at that, just coming out of the bag is just cords. Batteries in there nice and safe. You pull the cords up, and it sits right next to my TPMS. So when I'm riding, it is a little, it could be better. You know, I could have a switch like right here I could just punch, but honestly, it's really not a big deal just to come over and they're gone and they go off. So much better than having to reach down and push the button on the bag while I'm riding. This was one of those small projects that doesn't seem like a lot, but it's gonna make my life so much easier in the long run. If you guys liked this kind of short, faster, like quick project video, I hope you did, because I did too. And I'm not sure what the next video is gonna be, but it'll be something cool. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.